If you are moving from Arizona to Salem, Oregon, this is going to be the video for you. We are going to be talking all about the biggest differences between life in Arizona and life in Salem, Oregon. My name is Clarity Odd, and I'm a local real estate broker here in Salem who specializes in relocations. Just like you, I relocated to Salem, and now I get to make videos all about this amazing city for you, my future clients. If you want to work with us in the home buying process, go down to the description of this video where you're going to find all of our contact information. Reach out so that we can help you. I am sure by now that you've already heard about the weather in Oregon. You've probably heard that it rains a lot and that it's gray most of the year and slightly depressing. And while all of those things are absolutely true, sorry to say, there's also a lot of beauty that comes from those rainy gray days. In Arizona, you probably are very accustomed to summers that are so stinking hot you could fry an egg outside. Well, my internet friends, you are going to be happy to know that the summers here in Salem, they are not like that at all. And while we do occasionally get stretches in the summertime that are above 100 degrees, that is not the norm for us. Summer here in Salem runs from about mid-June until mid-September-ish, which also coincides with the school year and the summer schedule. In the summertime, you can expect that the sun does not set until around 9:30 p.m. on the longest day of the year, and the temperatures are typically going to hover around 80-ish to 95-ish degrees on most summer days. In the summertime, we really don't get very much rain, but when we do get rainy summer days, they don't last long at all. It's kind of not really even that big of a deal to think about because the rain is really just in the winter time. The nights during the summer are mostly warm, but it's pretty common that it does cool down enough where you can open up your window and let some fresh air in. It does not get super cold like the desert. Now that we've talked about summer, which is pretty much only 3 months out of the year, and it really is the highlight for us Oregonians, let's actually talk about what the winters are like here in Salem. During the winter time, you can totally expect that you are going to see rain, you're going to see gray, and you're not going to see the sun for probably weeks on end. Now, we do practice daylight savings time here in Oregon, which means that in November time, we do set our clocks back. So that means the shortest day in the winter time, it actually gets dark around 4:30 p.m. because we practice daylight savings time. This is very tough, and it probably means that you are going to be going into the office in the winter time and you're not going to see the sun because it hasn't risen yet, and then you're going to get out of the office around 5 p.m. in the winter time, and you're also not going to see the sun. So I tell you, there are going to be days where you don't see the sun at all. Now, you don't have to worry about actually adjusting your clock on daylight savings, at least not on your phone, because your phone is automatically going to do that. But yeah, you're going to have to adjust your wall clock. Do people still have wall clocks? Or your oven clock, your microwave clock. So you will have to adjust some of them, but don't worry, your phone has your back and it will automatically do it for you. Because you are going to be coming from a state that is very sunny, where you can expect blue skies most of the time, you do need to be prepared that we have very distinct seasons here in Oregon. You are truly going to experience fall, winter, spring, and summer. So you are in fact going to need to go buy yourself some winter coats and boots and all of the winter rainy gear that us Oregonians, I guess we just take for granted. We probably have like extra closets of winter attire and then extra closets of fall attire and spring attire. And I might just be talking about myself here. Yeah, I am. So feel free to ditch those tank tops and Daisy Dukes because you are not going to need them here. I only own one pair of shorts because that's just how infrequently used they are. It's kind of sad. If you're finding value in this video so far, give it a thumbs up and go down to the comments and tell me what you are looking forward to the most about living in Salem. All right, now while we are on the topic of weather and seasons, it is not uncommon to find houses here in Salem that don't have air conditioning. I know you probably just let out an audible gasp. Most homes and businesses do have air conditioning in Salem. Thankfully, people have gotten bored with that. But in older homes, it's not uncommon for them to not have an AC system. My clients who relocate from Arizona, they typically prioritize finding home with AC systems, and rightly so. I totally get it. But we typically do find a handful of homes that are older that don't have AC at all. If you're considering new construction homes here in Salem, most oftentimes you're going to find that purchasing AC is going to be an upgrade in the standard package of a new construction build. If you do find a property that doesn't have AC already in the house, you're going to find that mini splits are going to be your best friend. Personally, I think it is the best and easiest way to retrofit an older home with AC. Just get a mini split and call it good. Another thing to remember when you are touring homes with me here in Salem, whether that's in person or virtually, if you're looking for your AC system up on the roof, you're looking in the wrong spot because they're not put on the roof. They're put on the side of the house. I don't know why they're on the roof in Arizona. I've heard from my clients that that is the common place to put them. I'd be curious to know, why are they on the roof? Isn't that slightly dangerous? I don't know. Tell me if you are coming from Arizona in the comments why your guys' AC systems are put on the roof. That's just bonkers to me. Let's talk about the geography of Arizona versus Salem, Oregon, because it is completely different. In Arizona, you guys have the deserts, the mountains, the canyons, the plateaus, but here in Salem, we are in the Pacific Northwest, and that means that we are in the lush Willamette Valley. Here in the Willamette Valley, which is where Salem is located, we do not have desert landscapes, but instead we are surrounded by a lot of greenery and lush green forests. Remember earlier in this video when I was talking about all of that rain that we have here in Salem? Well, that rain is the thing that gives us the beautiful lush foliage that we are so spoiled by. Here in the Willamette Valley, we have some phenomenal wines and fruits and meats and cheeses because it's just so lush and fertile here. Oregon produces a lot of great produce, right? Yeah. And all of that lovely food is just a part of our culture here in Salem. We are surrounded by so many different wineries and farms that we have very easy access to great food and beverages that come directly from the farmers. Personally, I think this is a huge highlight, especially if you're somebody who's ever dreamed of just like knocking on your farmer's front door to get some eggs. That dream can absolutely come true here in Salem. You can go find your farmer next door and get fresh eggs or honey or meat. It's all up for grabs here. All right, let me get back to the actual geography of Salem, Oregon. You are going to be just about an hour and a half away from the Oregon coast. You're going to be about 45 minutes south of Portland, which is the biggest city in Oregon. And then you're also going to be about an hour and a half away from Mount Hood, which is phenomenal for skiing. And my preferred mode of getting down a mountain is on a sled. You're also going to be about 2 hours away from Central Oregon. So if you are missing the desert, you can go to Central Oregon and hang out in the high desert instead. Now, I know that you've been waiting for me to talk about taxes because everyone loves taxes, right? Anyways, here in Oregon and in Salem, Oregon, we do not have a sales tax. So what you see on the sticker or the menu is exactly what you are going to pay. But instead, we do have income taxes. Now, this is a progressive income tax bracket. So depending on how much you actually make, you are going to be taxed differently. Your tax percentage could range from, if I remember correctly, 5.5 to 9.9%. Talk to your CPA about this one, okay? I am not a CPA, but just know it's anywhere from 5-ish to 9-ish% of your income that you're going to be taxed. This is a lot of information coming at you all at once. The only thing that you need to remember is that when you have decided to move to Salem and you are ready to purchase a house, book your one-on-one consultation with me so that we can set up a plan for you to relocate in the least stressful way possible. I get it. Relocating is hard. And I only came 45 minutes north from Portland. Gosh, it was tough. So anyways, I get it. Reach out. I'm here to help. Salem is the state capital of Oregon, which does mean that we do tend to have some political undertones within the city. It's simply because we are the heart of our state government, okay? If you wanted to live in the same neighborhood as the Oregon governor, you totally could if you wanted. How cool, right? Also, that's the Fairmount neighborhood. I have a whole vlog tour on that one. Very cute neighborhood. But I haven't really found that Salem is particularly any more or less politically different or vocal than a lot of other places in Oregon, like Portland. But it is important to note that because Salem is Oregon state capital, a lot of our industry here really is focused around government. From my YouTube clients who relocate from Arizona to Salem, they tell me that the cost of living is pretty darn comparable. The biggest difference that they've mentioned really does come down to the cost of real estate. Now, of course, this is kind of a relative point because depending on which city in Arizona you're coming from, you might get here and be like, wow, Salem is very cheap. Or you might say, wow, Salem is so damn expensive. But I would like to point out that we are one of the cheaper cities on the West Coast. To give you a quick point of reference, at the time that this video was filmed, a single family detached home in Salem was averaging a sales price of $450,000. I'm curious to know if that is more expensive or less expensive than where you are currently living in Arizona. Feel free to go down to the comments and tell me what your city's median home sales price is right now. Last thing that I want to talk about is driving and cars. Now you might be like, Clarity, why are you talking to me about cars? Well, I'm talking to you about cars because it rains so much here in Salem. I want you to know that it's going to be in your best interest to get a car that is not low to the ground. Don't be driving around in your little Miata here in Salem. Driving in the rain is completely different. Your windshield wipers are gonna be like a wild banshee going on your windshield. It gets crazy here. And I can tell you that when I first started driving here in Salem, my husband and I, we had a Mazda. It was low to the ground. It was one of those little like coupe ones, not a Miata. And we got a new car because it was so difficult when the trucks have their lights blazing into your windshield and then the rain and the windshields. It's just really difficult to drive around in rainy conditions when you're really low to the ground. Get yourself an SUV, something that's a little bit more elevated off the ground, and you're gonna find that your driving experience in the rain is gonna be like a million times better. Not saying go get yourself a brand new spanking car, especially if you're already in contract to purchase a house. That's not the time to get a car. But do be mindful that driving in the rainy winter conditions here in Salem is going to be very different than wherever you are coming from in Arizona. Oh, and the other thing about driving around in the rain, so us Oregonians, we tend to wear dark colored clothing. That might be because we are slightly depressed all the time. But when you're driving around, and it's really hard to see because, your car is low to the ground. There are trucks that just, their headlights are blazing in and piercing your eyes, and it's raining and your windshields are going back and forth, and it's just bananas. And then you throw in a person who is walking around in dark clothing, you cannot see pedestrians very well against a dark gray rainy background when they are wearing dark clothes as well. Like, I guess I'm wearing exactly that. But my point is, you just need to be really cautious and take your time learning how to drive here because it is a little bit terrifying at times. If you enjoyed this video, you are going to want to watch this one next. Bye, friends. Let's try that one more time. One more time.